remembering better times when Barack Obama was president. We weren't all quarantined. Donald Trump wasn't in office and we were not all fucked. Yes, do you remember those times? Me neither, actually. They seem so far away. What's up, guys? It's your girl Penny here, and today we are talking about why I do not talk to my dad anymore, as I'm sure you can tell from the title. Before we get started, let me just say, anyone who's about to slide in the comments, slide in my inbox, and be like, that's still your dad, I'm gonna need you to go. Because parents can be toxic too, and sometimes you really gotta let people go. Also, this is not one of those like my mom made me hate my dad stories, because she wasn't petty like that, although she could have been. Like, I made this decision on my own. This was a decision that I made. My parents broke up when I was super young. Like, I was maybe like 3 or 4, like I don't even know. I might have been a little older than that. I don't know. I was young. I was really young. He went to jail and then my mom left him. I guess that was like her escape. You know, I didn't see him obviously for like 2 years because he was in jail. Didn't talk to him or anything, at least that I can remember. That's not important. Anyways, he gets out of jail. He gets a girlfriend and she had a daughter. So she like made him be pretty involved in our life. Like, my mom was like, you take the kids on the weekends, and he would only really stick to it while he was with this girl. Then they broke up, and then I didn't see my dad for like years. Like, I mean like years. He would call on holidays and stuff and say he was coming, and I would like look out the window and he would never come. So I was like, okay, like whatever. And that would like make me really sad, like super sad, because I just always wondered, like, why would you have kids and not want to spend time with them? Like, I just never understood that. I literally don't get it. So I was like always really sad, and I'm just a super emotional being. Like, as a person, I am very emotional. I am super in touch with my emotions. So like, yeah, just want to say that. So I would go to my mom and I would cry like all the time, like all the time. I would have nightmares and stuff like because of this situation. Like, it just took like a really big toll on me mentally and emotionally. And my mom would just like, you know, she'd console me. And she never talked bad about my dad. Like, that was something my mom never, ever, ever did. At least not to us. Of course, to her friends and like my grandma, she was probably like, he ain't shit. Like, how dare you treat my kids like this? But she was never like that to us. Like, she always said that we should make our own opinion about my dad because they had their shit, you know, like, so her opinion was already like biased because she already hated him. So it didn't matter. So then he finally like started coming around again, like out of nowhere. Like, he would do this, like he'd disappear for years and then he'd come back and act like nothing ever happened and be like, so why haven't you called me? Like, I don't even have your number. What the fuck are you saying to me? Like, what? And you're my dad. Like, what? I'm 12. You should be calling me. Like, what? So when he would come around, I tried to have a relationship with him because I wanted a relationship with him. Like, I had a stepdad and he was awesome, but I wanted to have a relationship with my real dad. So when he came around, I talked to him and like pretend that you didn't just break my heart a trillion times. And I would like call him and try to reach out to him, and like he's always like very short on the phone, and like he just has a million things going on, and he will literally just like hang up and then you won't hear from him for like ever. So then I get older. I had to be like 16 at the time, and my dad started coming around again, and he had a new girlfriend now. So I'm like, cool, whatever. Like, he got this girlfriend, he's hanging out with her kids. Meanwhile, you have kids, my dude. Like, what are you doing? So that offended me, that you can spend time with someone else's kids and not your own. Like, you are literally a piece of shit. So anyways, then him and this girl, I guess, got like pretty serious or whatever. And then my mom came to me and was like, hey, your dad's girlfriend's pregnant. I'm like, what? Like, and I had literally just talked to him. So I'm like, what? Like, he's really having another kid? Like, for what? So he came over a couple days later and I asked him, like, do you have a baby on the way? And he literally looked at me and was like, no. I'm like, okay, like whatever. But being who my mom was and how she like didn't try to make my dad ever look bad, I knew that my mom was telling the truth and that he was lying, because he usually is, to himself and to everybody else. So I was like, whatever. And I was hurt again, because now I'm like, you're having another kid, you don't take care of us. And all I could think about was this child that was getting ready to come into the world and not have a dad. And also her mother, because I'm sure my dad made up some big, huge story on why he didn't spend time with us. And he's telling us, like whenever they broke up, eventually, he's telling us that she wouldn't let him spend time with us, which now that I'm older, I understand couldn't really be true, because you wasn't spending time with us anyways. Like, you know what I'm saying? But whatever. So yeah, I was just hurt. Like, why are you going to bring another kid into this world and then lie about it on top of that? So that's the #1 sign you clearly ain't going to be shit. Like, clearly. She has the baby, whatever. I meet her like once while she's young, and then like next time I see her, she's like walking, talking, doing all this stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, like she's so smart and she's so this and she loves her dad and blah blah blah. And I started to get a little jealous, I'm not gonna lie, like of my 2-year-old sister, because I'm like, what is different that you choose to take care of this child and not us? I don't know, I just like became jealous, like, I don't know. But I wanted my sister to have a dad at the same time. I was just jealous of the relationship that they had, because like I wanted it so bad and I tried so hard to have it, and he just like never gave it to me. So whatever. Fast forward, 17 years old, it's time for me to graduate high school. And again, I wanted my dad to be in my life. So I allowed him to come to my graduation. And he really didn't deserve that, because he was not a part of my life at all throughout my high school years. Like, he'd pop in and out, but no. The only time he really came, it was holidays. Like, he'd come on holidays, take us to these events, and my mom always made us go. Like, when he would decide to show up, my mom always made us go. She'd be like, that's your dad. Go. So be like, whatever. And then he'd just be like showing us off like we're some kind of trophy and like he's dad of the year. But you haven't done shit for us, bro. Let him come to my graduation. Cool. Great. Graduate. Then I end up moving. That's when I moved to LA. And when I moved to LA, I went through like this like breaking period. Like the entire thing was a breakdown, emotional experience that just like changed me completely. But when I first got there, I didn't leave the house at all. And I would just like think about stuff that happened to me in the past because I was trying to heal at this point. And I hadn't thought about a lot of stuff in a really long time. So when I was 8 years old, my dad's brother raped me, okay? And I never told anyone because he told me not to, and like made it like this whole big thing, like I was gonna break a family up or whatever. And you know, being 8, I was like, that's the worst thing ever. So I just lived with it forever, like never told anyone. So during that period of whenever I first was in LA, I finally like came to terms with that. I told my sister first. My sister was the first person I told. And then I held on to it. So when I moved back to Pennsylvania, it's like getting ready to be the new year. I don't know what year it was, but it was getting ready to be the new year. And I told my mom about how I was raped by my uncle. So she was like, oh, hell no. Like my mom was not with it. I asked her not to say anything and she went anyways, called him and was just like, blah, 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 you know, whatever. And then I go to my dad's a couple of days later. Let me just tell you this. I did not know that my mom talked to my uncle. I had no idea, okay? So I didn't know that it was known that I was raped by him. Like, I had no idea. So I go to my dad's and my uncle's there, the rapist. He's there. And I actually don't call him uncle in real life. It's just making it easier for this video because, you know, just throwing that out there. But anyways, he's there. And he's like putting his head down like very shamefully. And it was funny because I was feeling shame on the inside because like every time I saw him, it was just a reminder of like how he just ruined my life. Like how he just took my innocence, took my entire childhood away from me. Like it was just always a reminder of that. So he's walking by me with his head down, like doesn't really speak to me. And I ain't mad because I don't fuck with him anyway. So I'm like, that's even better. So my dad's just being normal, you know, like nothing's going on. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go home and I tell my mom like how my uncle just like really didn't talk to me. And I was kind of relieved because I just didn't want to talk to him. And she's like, I'm going to be honest with you. I called him. I had to, and I let him know, don't speak to my kids, don't hug them, like none of that, or she'll do whatever she's gonna do. My mom's crazy. Everybody knows that, so he listened. And I'm like, oh, Mom. Like, I was hurt at the time, but now I'm glad. Like, thanks, Mom, if you're watching this. But I was really hurt at first because I just wasn't ready to deal with that whole situation, like, at all. So I was just like, wow, I felt like I was being forced into something that I wasn't really ready to confront, but I needed to, because at this point I was 19 or 20. So it had been over 10 years since it happened. Like I needed to move on. So whatever. Proceeding to me in my bedroom being an emotional being, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to tell my dad, like, you know, I don't want him to find out from someone else. Like, he might be mad, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So for months, I'm trying to figure out, how am I going to tell him? Like, what am I going to say? Like, do I just go in there and be like, hey, like, you know, like, I'm literally playing it out in my head, like, practicing how I'm going to tell him, whatever. But in the meantime, my dad is, like, active in our life at this time. So we're spending a lot of time with my dad, my sister, and I. So we go over there one day and my dad bought me a car. I'm like, great, about time you did something. So he buys me a car, but like it needs something fixed on it or whatever, and he was handling that. So I go over there to clean out the car and stuff. Like me, my sister, my dad clean out the car, and I just was feeling like, don't take this car. Like something inside of me, God, was like, don't take this car. Like, don't take it. And I'm just like, well, why? Like, I've been wanting a car. Like, I don't know. But like, I never told anyone I was considering that. So at this point, I'm still taking the car. So one day my grandma calls me, my dad's mom, and she tells me and my sister to come over. So we go over there. And she gives us money, which she never does. And then she looks at me and she's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Your dad didn't buy the car. It came from your uncle. Right. So at that point, it began to click to me that they knew something. Like, it just started to click. The machine started turning and I was like, because why are you giving me money? Why is my dad giving me a car? Like, you know, they were trying to give me like sympathy gifts to like keep me quiet. Like, that's honestly what I feel like they were trying to do. So the money my grandma gave me, I did not spend 1 penny of it. Not 1 penny. I put it in my tithes at church. I gave that straight to the Lord because I don't want no parts of that. At this point, I'm like hurt. Like, because like, you really think a car and $25 is gonna buy my silence? What? Like, that is mind-boggling to me. Like, absolutely mind-boggling, completely disrespectful, and I don't fuck with you. So whatever. At this point, I'm just thinking that they know. I don't know if they know or not. So I was at my grandma's a couple days after she told me about the car or whatever. And my dad's girlfriend says that someone like inappropriately touched her boob and pulled their penis out in front of her or whatever. And she told my grandma. So I don't know if my grandma told my dad or like what happened there, but this night all this shit blows up. So we are sitting at my grandma's, and my dad's girlfriend's pretty cool. Like, she's mad cool. So, you know, we're chilling, whatever. And somehow the conversation of this situation comes up, and my dad is drunk. And he is screaming at the top of his lungs, like, why wouldn't she tell me? Blah, blah, blah. She wanted it. She clearly wanted it. And like, he keeps saying that. And I'm like, how dare you say that? Like, how dare you? Because she's a woman? Because she's pretty? Because what? Like, what made her want that? Like, what? Okay? Like, I don't understand. So he just keeps saying it. And I'm like, okay, maybe he'll feel differently if I say something like about what happened to me. So I'm like getting ready to talk to my dad, and my grandma's sitting over on the couch, and I can see in her face that she knows what I'm getting ready to tell my dad. I can see it in her face. And she's like, no, 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 like, don't. And my dad wouldn't like come outside. So I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna let it go. He's drunk anyways. Like, he can't really handle this right now. But like, I was just trying to help his girlfriend because she's like so upset. And my dad is literally screaming at her like, you wanted it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like calling her a whore and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? Like, you're serious right now? So I began to lose the little drop of respect I had for this clown that day. Like, it started to drain. So I go to my dad's one day. It is literally it's like New Year's Eve, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's getting ready to be a new year. And I'm like, listen, I can't take this into the new year with me. Like, I gotta get this off my chest. So I decided I'm gonna drive to my dad's by myself. My sister offered to come. I was like, nope, it's cool. I'm gonna go there by myself. So I drive there, and the whole way there, I'm literally bawling my eyes out, talking to God. Like, I'm nervous. Like, what if I break up this entire family? You know, like, they're not going to talk to my uncle anymore. And then it's just going to be like distance between everybody because of me. Like, I'm feeling guilty still about it. Okay. So get to my dad's. I'm like, all right, pull myself together in the car, like wiping my face. I'm like, I'm going to get it together. Like, I'm going to get it together, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to tell him. So get there, we're talking, and I'm bawling my eyes out. Like, when I go to say, like, I was raped by your brother, wow, the fact that I can say that now and I'm not crying, that is like growth. So like, when I go to tell him, like, I mean, like, waterworks, like tears just flushing out of my eyeballs. And he looks at me and goes, I know, he already told me. And I'm like, well, why'd you never bring it up? Like, or ask or anything? And like, he's still like hanging out with him. Like, everything is fine. And he was like, well, he said it wasn't true. So what do you want me to do? And I'm like, okay. Like, I see that I don't mean shit to you. So I left. And the whole entire ride home, I cried and cried and cried. Okay, so I'm just like, I was so upset. And like, I just talked to God, and I'm just like, wow, God, this is kind of gross. Like, but still at this point, I wasn't completely done with my dad. Like, I'm in my head reasoning why he is like trying to stay neutral when really he's not. He's picked a side. Like, he raped me. I'm your daughter, and you're still just acting like nothing happened. Driving home crying, then I go to my mom and I tell her what happened, and I just am like, you know, I'm upset, but like, I'm just gonna move on, you know, like there's nothing else I can really do. And so then that led to my mom and I having a much needed conversation that actually built our relationship much stronger. So in a sense, this turned out to be a good thing. Moving forward, some more, back to the car. I still didn't cut my dad off at this point. I go back over there and, you know, he's like, you can take the car today. And so I was thinking about it and I was like, no. Like, he wanted to go get the title and stuff switched over or something. And I was like, no, not today. Like, I don't think I'm gonna take the car. The next day or whatever, my dad calls me like, sure, you don't want the car? And I'm like, sure, I'll take it. So he picks me and my sister up. We drive to like some insurance place or something. Yeah, we drive to some insurance place that's like 20 minutes or so from my house. And my mom was paying for everything, okay? Let me just say that. My mom was paying for the title transfer. She was paying for the insurance. She was paying for everything. Everything. So we get there and he's like, tell your mom we need more money. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, because something. And I was like, I'm not gonna tell her, I'm gonna ask her. And my mom was at work. I'm like, I'm gonna ask her. Like, she just gave me, I'm pretty sure she gave me like $300 in cash or something, maybe a little bit more than that. And I'm like, how is this not enough? Like, how is this not enough money? Whatever. So I'm like, I'm gonna ask her. So I call my mom and I'm like, yeah, he talking about this ain't enough money. I don't know, ma, like, I don't know. And I'm in the car, it's just me and my sister. And she's like, okay, go in and see what he's talking about. So I walk in, I'm on the phone with my mom, and he's really not saying anything except for, we need more money. I'm like, why? Like, why do we need more money? And I'm trying to ask him why so I can tell my mom why we need more money. Like, why I need your card information right now. Like, I'm trying to get this information so my mom feels okay with what's going on. And he literally just starts screaming at me in the middle of State Farm. Like, do you want this or not? Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. You're so disrespectful. I was like, well, you talk to her. And gave him the phone and I walked out, and I'm in the car crying, telling my sister, like, I'm telling you right now, Lauren, if he gets in this car talking crazy, I'm chewing him. Like, I mean that with everything in me. He gets in this car and says anything to me, I am dogging him. And my sister knows me. She's like, oh, this is not gonna be good. Like, this is not gonna be good. She knows I was serious because, like, I am a very nice person. But once I feel disrespected or anything, I turn into a whole nother person and I will really hurt your feelings. He gets in the car. He's like, I don't know why you're asking me all these damn questions. I'm trying to help you, give you a fucking car, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, I'm trying to ask the question so I can tell my mom why I need more money. Like, she works hard for her money. She just gave me $300 and she's like, she takes care of my entire household. Like, I'm not just gonna call her like, hey, send me $300 more. Like, she needs to know, why do I need the $300 more? And he's like, no, blah, 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 blah. You're just fucking disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. Tried to be calm the first time, now you pissed me off. So I'm like, first of all, I don't know who you're talking to. I didn't want to take this car in the first place. And he's like, yeah, because you think you're too fucking good for my help. Like, no, bruh, because I don't fuck with you, because you act like this. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, you got it, bro. You got it. So he's still yelling at me. And I'm yelling at him, like, we're arguing as he's driving. I'm sitting in the front seat and my sister's in the back, like, guys, stop arguing. And I don't remember what he said. And I was like, it's okay, because if I really need a car, my mom will help me, just like she just did just now. And not only that, you're about to keep a car that my mom paid for the insurance on, because he did end up getting the insurance with my mom's money, fucking bum. And I was like, you know, it's fine. You never did anything for me before. You've been a bum. I've been not liked you. I've been trying to have respect for you. Like, I just started chewing him up. Like, you're how old? You don't take care of your kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, and he's in the driver's seat acting like he's getting ready to punch me. Like, literally acting like he's about to punch me. I'm like, listen, you lay a hand on me, I will wreck this motherfucking car. I'm not even playing. I will reach right on over to that wheel and we will be in the woods, because we're literally driving next to the woods. And my sister's like, guys, you need to stop. And I'm like, no, you're not going to keep disrespecting me. I don't care who he is. I was like, I'll gladly walk. I'm literally so far from my house. Like, I'll gladly walk. He's like, you can get the fuck out my car. I'm like, and I will, as he keeps driving. So we're still arguing, getting nowhere. He's talking to me sideways. I'm like, you don't even know me. You haven't spent enough time with me to know me. So bye, like, goodbye. Don't tell me anything about me. You don't know me. Next. And that just triggered him some more. And so we finally get to, like, into my city. Like, we're by a Taco Bell, which is on the whole other side of town, like the entire complete opposite side of town. And I'm like, so there's like an exit on the right. And I was like, if you go this way, it'll be faster. Cause I was just trying to get out the car. Literally, this way would make it faster. Like, why are we going to drive through town when we can get on the bypass and I can be the fuck up out of this car? He's like, don't tell me what to do. Dude, you're childish. I was like, oh, really? Bet. Got out the car. Literally middle of the highway. We pulled up at a red light. I got out the car. He's like, you can fucking walk. I said, and I will. The fuck? So my sister's like, she obviously gets out the car because that's just like, we're sisters. That's just what we do. So we're like on the highway walking, and I looked it up on my GPS before I started this vlog, and it is a 55-minute walk, okay? So my dad literally skirts off, like, I mean, like, tires lifted and sound going, like, you know, when the tires are screeching, like, he literally skirted off, never came back around, nothing. So we walked home, that long 55-minute walk. But my cousin had just had a baby and she was at the hospital, which was on the way. So we did get a little break. But yeah, then we walked the rest of the way. So after that, I was like, I shouldn't have acted like that. Like, I shouldn't have let him get the best of me like that, blah, blah, blah. Like, there was no reason for that. So I was just like feeling guilty for the way that I acted. And so I was like, I'm gonna call him and I'm gonna apologize, because I'm that person. Okay, like, I'm gonna call him, I'm gonna apologize, and hopefully he apologizes too, because I deserve one, because he was just completely disrespectful. So I call him and I'm like, hey Dad, like, I'm sorry for yelling at you the other day and just the way that I acted, blah, blah, blah. He's like, it's okay. That's it. Like, that's it. That's all he says. He never apologizes for his actions or anything at all. So at this point, you've already been in and out of my life for my entire life. You disrespect me every single time that I see you. You picked your rapist brother over me. You tried to give me a car from my rapist to buy my silence. Your mom tried to buy my silence. You act like you were gonna punch me as we were driving. You let me walk home an hour because of whatever, and I just don't fuck with you anymore. Like, at that point, like, I apologized. I took the blame for the whole situation, and you can't even just a simple I'm sorry? Like, nothing? You don't got shit for me? Okay, cool. So that day I decided I will never speak to him again. It's no hate. It's no nothing. It's just you caused me so much pain. And like, it's not like every time someone hurts you, you need to cut them off, you know? Because I feel like as human beings, no matter what, someone is going to disappoint us. Like, no matter what. So I am definitely a firm believer in like second chances, like completely, absolutely, because I feel like it's a part of the getting to know each other stage and like understanding how your relationship is going to work. So I, for one, am a firm believer in second chances. But dude, I've given you 1,000 of them and you've blown every single one. Every single one. You caused me nothing but emotional turmoil. Like when I would leave from with my dad, for days I would be like down, dark, feeling depressed, like just sad. So yeah, since that day, I have not talked to him. I've given him ample opportunity to be just a better dad to me. Like, I never asked him to change or anything. Like, I just asked you to act like you give a fuck about your kids. And I guess that would require him changing. So I guess I did ask him to change. And I guess that was too much for him because he chose to keep doing what he was doing. And now he doesn't talk to me. I don't talk to him. He's tried to, like, my sister still like talks to my dad sometimes, like not really because he's a deadbeat, but he came to pick my sister up one time when I still lived with my mom, and he like tried to talk to me and I just, nope. I would hear him outside, staying in my room. People come in like, your dad's, I don't give a fuck that he's outside. Thank you. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't have any more words for him. I don't have any more tears for him. I don't have anything for him. Like, I'm not hurt. I'm not angry. I'm not upset because I gave it a fair shot. Like, even after he hurt me a zillion times, I still gave it a fair shot. And he always made me feel like it was my fault that we weren't close. And that was just something that irked me because you're my dad. Like, you'll be right in my city and won't come see us. Like, you'll be a street over and won't come see us. Like, you're a clown. But yeah, that's why I don't talk to my dad anymore. So anyone out there dealing with a toxic parent, don't feel bad if you gotta cut them off because you don't deserve that. You don't deserve to deal with that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's it for me, your girl Penny. Bye.